I know, spooky season's over. But I'm not quite ready to say goodbye to it yet, so I decided to do one more Halloween-esque video. And for this one, I chose nothing less than one of, if not the greatest action-adventure movies of all time. The Mummy. No, not that one. This one. A quick side note before we get started. After I wrote this script, they officially announced that they're doing a fourth movie. Personally, as much as I love the cast, and as much as I want them to succeed, I do not think that this movie will be anything more than a soulless cash grab. I love Brendan Fraser, and I love Rachel Weisz, and I get that people gotta eat, but I really wish they'd leave my childhood alone. But enough about that. Released at the turn of the century, God, that sentence makes me feel old, The Mummy holds a unique place in my heart, and then I really have nothing bad to say about it. Everything, from its story and cast, right down to the sets and CGI. All of it just works so well that even now, 26 years later, it's still a 10 out of 10. So here's the thing. I don't consider myself a cinephile by any stretch of the imagination. I don't really go in for artsy stuff, and most of the movies I've seen fall firmly in the category of mainstream. I'm not an aspect ratio snob, and I couldn't care less if a movie is shot on film or digital. That being said, with this movie, I cannot imagine it being shot any other way. There's just something about watching the film grain and seeing the imperfections in it that gives this movie a legitimacy, I guess would be the right word. It feels like the product of a bygone era, and lends an authenticity to its story that I firmly believe would not be there had it been shot on a digital camera. Along with this idea of authenticity comes the fact that, by and large, the sets are practical. There are no giant green foam pieces that'll be spliced over in post-production. The actors are standing on sets, reacting to things that they're actually seeing, which, if you've read my blog post on the subject, you know, always results in a better performance. Everything from the opening battle to the library destruction sequence, to even something as simple as sand falling through the lock in the door. All of it was done as practically as possible, and it makes the movie so much better for it. All of this leads me neatly onto my next point, which is that, whether it was by design or necessity, the CGI in this film was used to augment what was already there, rather than replace it altogether. These days, we as the audience have gotten so used to huge scenes where nothing is real, that we just kind of tune it out. We begrudgingly accept this stuff because it's all we're being given. With The Mummy, we're given enough real that the fake doesn't pull us out of the experience or force us to just shrug our shoulders in apathy. For example, let's take a look at the scene where Imhotep is being mummified alive. A scene which gave me nightmares as a kid, by the way. The set is real, the actors are real. Arnold Vosloo is legitimately being wrapped in linen, and at the very least someone is being put in that sarcophagus. We're given all this real imagery so that when the time comes to pour the scarabs in, it doesn't pull us out of the experience. Compare this to something like the opening scene in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, where they're running through the doors between realities. The only two real things in this scene are Benedict Cumberbatch and Xochitl Gomez. Sorry if I butchered that name, by the way. Sure, it looks bombastic with its particle effects and quick cuts, but none of it is real, and it's very obvious. As a matter of fact, for most of that movie, rather than thinking about the story, I just felt bad for the actors, since they had to basically act opposite a bunch of tennis balls the whole damn time. Anyway, rant over. Let's get back to The Mummy. Since we're already on the subject of casts, let's briefly talk about this one. It is flawless. It doesn't matter who you look at, there are no weak links here, and it shows. Everyone from Brendan Fraser, turning in his first major performance as an action hero I might add, to Rachel Weisz as the adorable Evelyn Carnahan, to Arnold Vosloo as the menacing Imhotep. Even the supporting cast in John Hannah, Kevin O'Connor, and Oded Fehr. I love them all, and they're all brilliant in their respective roles. Rachel Weisz in particular deserves a special mention, given how well she worked with John Hannah and Brendan Fraser. I totally buy not only her brother-sister dynamic with Hannah, but the palpable romantic chemistry she had with Fraser. Another reason this movie sits so high on my list is the simplicity with which the story was constructed. For whatever reason, Hollywood these days seems to be completely averse to the concept of good versus evil. Everyone and everything has to have an angle, a shade of gray to play off of an audience's emotions. Don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with this type of writing per se. I've used it plenty of times myself. But when every single story has to have a sympathetic villain or big reveal to alter the audience's perception of events, it gets tiring after a while. Hell, even this movie has it if you think about the storyline for a few moments. Our initial setup was Imhotep basically trying to release the love of his life from sexual slavery at the hands of the pharaoh. It's only after that we get a good old-fashioned good guy versus bad guy story. But really, it's this plotline that allows the rest of the movie to sing the way that it does. You don't have to worry about multiple threads converging. You don't have to worry about multiple characters, all with different motivations that you have to expound on. As a matter of fact, the motivations of most of the cast shift en masse as the movie progresses. You've got the hunt for Hamunaptra and the riches it contains, then you've got the need to escape after they wake up Imhotep, and finally the understanding that they have to stop him. They all move from A to B to C together, which allows for a lot more character work from the cast. It also allows for the pacing to be absolutely flawless. By keeping the majority of your cast together, you can keep driving the story forward at a consistent pace. You don't have to hit the brakes on one plot thread just to move another one forward towards the same destination. It's a problem that a lot of media, especially TV shows like The Witcher and Game of Thrones, have. Overarching plot lines are all well and good, but if you dump them in favor of character arcs, or vice versa, you lose a lot more than you gain. The Mummy is a movie that kind of gets lost in the shuffle of cinematic history. It's a brilliant piece of filmmaking that almost everyone has seen, but no one really remembers until you bring it up. It's always, oh yeah, I remember that one, it was really good. On the one hand, I kinda get it. We were eating good in 1999 with cultural phenomena like The Phantom Menace, The Sixth Sense, The Green Mile, Fight Club, and The Matrix, just to name a few. But on the other hand, I really feel like The Mummy doesn't get the kind of respect it deserves. Is it because there was an entire expanded universe that was built around it, tarnishing its reputation? Maybe. Bear in mind that there are more Scorpion King movies than there are actual Mummy movies. It can't be because it wasn't popular. 5xing your budget on a reboot of a 1932 classic speaks for itself. I don't know. Maybe I'll never know. But what I do know is that I still watch this film a couple of times a year just to throw myself back into its world. I know that it's the last of a bygone age of filmmaking where it was possible to actually do everything right while making a movie. And I know that, soulless cash grab though it might be, this fourth movie will bring a whole new generation of viewers back to the beginning. And that makes me very excited. Anyway, that's all I've got for you this time, so if you could do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe buttons, I'd really appreciate it. Every little bit really helps me out. Also, go ahead and take a look at the other videos on my channel, or hit up my website to see my blog and maybe check out my books on Amazon. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.